Digital marketing can suck you dry and keep you in an exhausted state if you don't create a balance between the grind and your mind. And so for today, I want to talk to you guys all about why quitting your YouTube channel is not the way to go. Whether you're planning on starting a new one or quitting all digital marketing in general, this video is for you. Okay. So let's jump into the 10 things you need to know that I wish I knew before quitting your YouTube channel so that you can also thrive. All right. So if you're considering quitting your YouTube channel, you are probably frustrated that you haven't seen much growth and you're considering starting a rebranding. That way you think that, hey, if I start over here on this new channel, I'll get some new people and the algorithm won't mess with me anymore. And I just have to tell you that it's not the algorithm. It's likely some of these 10 things that you're doing that will just really mess up your momentum and it's not going to be helpful. I actually knew before quitting my YouTube channel 18 months ago that some things were going to change, that I have to restart. And I was really thinking about restarting on another channel and all of this until I learned some of these things. And now that I'm coming back to this channel, I wish someone had told me these things about digital marketing and YouTube and all of the things. So the first thing is understanding that sometimes niching down will kill your creativity, okay? And you can feel that way a lot of times, and you likely don't want to be as niche down as you are. So instead of restarting, just branch out and pivot. Remember that YouTube is a place for search, and your subscribers may have subscribed because they want to support you or be notified of your next video, but it is okay to pivot. And I just want to kind of give that permission because I always thought it was never okay to really pivot, like stay there. This is what your subscribers are looking for. But remember that your subscribers are subscribed to lots of other videos, lots of other people. They may have just liked your vibe and wanted to just kind of like hear what you had to say occasionally. But remember that your new subscribers are in the same boat. Okay. So when you try something new, the most important thing you can do is make your information searchable to attract all types of new subscribers. So that's why sometimes you'll see people who make videos in all different areas, but they have a large subscriber count. It's because they're allowing themselves to speak to all different types of subscribers and they're building out their subscriber base, not just in one niche down place. And I'm going to talk about really niching down later. So we'll talk about that in a minute. Number 2 is all about recognizing burnout. Did you know that WebMD actually characterizes burnout as a form of exhaustion caused by constantly feeling swamped? And if I understand anything about feeling swamped, it can be that that's the reason that you want to stop your YouTube channel or why you want to start somewhere else or restart or whatever. Because if you ask most content creators, most of us have had a bout of burnout at some point or another. Dr. Gail North and Herbert Freudenberger came up with 12 stages of burnout. 12 stages, you guys. Today, I'm only going to share the top 3, the first 3 for today's video, but there are 12 stages of burnout, and that's crazy. Now, since burnout can actually develop over time, you need to be able to recognize the earliest stages in order for you to determine if that's actually what you're feeling. And most times, it's hard to determine that you're actually feeling burnout because they're very, very basic, common feelings that a lot of us feel. I was actually really shocked when I started reading about it and figuring out like, yeah, I've definitely felt that way before, or I'm doing that right this moment. So it's good to just recognize it and then take a break when you need a break. Okay. So the first stage is an urgent need to prove yourself. You want to do so well to the point of perfectionism for fear of not fulfilling the demands. So you can sometimes feel like, oh my God, I didn't get a video out this week. It's really going to mess me up. I'm going to, lose my subscribers, or my subscribers are depending on me. You can have that feeling. And sometimes it's like you making the feeling, right? The next thing is number 2 is working harder and feeling the need to do everything yourself and complete everything as soon as possible. So instead of maybe reaching out to get help or asking someone like who they use to edit their videos or who writes their script or, outsourcing some of the work because maybe you don't feel like you're making enough money to do that yet, we start to feel like we're in that second phase of just, I'm going to work harder and I'll make it happen, right? So if you've found yourself in that phase, that could be burnout. The last thing, and this is a big one when you start to kind of really feel that burnout feeling, like even your little spidey senses are going off and thinking like, okay, maybe I am actually getting burnt out, is when you start to neglect your actual needs, right? You think the stress of work or activities is normal. So you're not going out anymore. You're not seeing your friends. You're not doing things. And then when other people are doing that, you're looking down on them and just thinking like, well, you don't have enough goals. And maybe that's why you're not doing X. Maybe that's why you don't want to work so hard, and thinking that the working harder is the way to get ahead. And really, you're just burning yourself out. So if you're experiencing any of these symptoms, this is literally your sign, okay, to take a break. If you need to take a few weeks or months or whatever, that's okay. Just take the break, but don't tell yourself that you're actually going to quit your YouTube channel. And I think that's where I kind of got to this point where I was like, okay, I'm trying to do this, this, and this, but I'm just going to quit the channel and I'm going to restart. I'm too niche down and I'm tired and I'm overworked and I don't know how to stay consistent. Now that brings me into number 3, because number 3 is all about how to stay consistent. And on top of that, give yourself breaks. This is how you avoid burnout while building a brand. Okay. Now, I feel really strongly about this area because I think this is a secret that a lot of content creators know if you've been in it for a while. But if you're starting out and you've been just doing this and trying to perform like what you see on social media and on YouTube, where all of these people make all these amazing videos and then they are just, consistent and they're showing up all the time. There's a secret to that. Okay. And I'm going to tell you in just a second, but this is one of those areas where most people feel like a major failure. And I understand, I've been there. So I want to dispel all this for you. So just as important as being consistent, taking breaks allows you to rejuvenate and then live that life that you are trying to build over here and enjoy that life. So how do you do both? Okay. I know. Okay. The way that you do both is by learning simply the art of batching. And all that is learning to do the same task, that you do the same task over and over and over. So as an example, like the secret that these content creators know that you may not have heard of yet is they do all of the same tasks at one time. So as an example, today I'm recording a bunch of videos. All I'm going to do is record. I'm going to record like 3 to 5 videos. Well, if you think about it, if I release one video per week, then that means that I've given myself 5 weeks of time. If I record all 5 of those videos today, I have 5 weeks of time to focus on other things, to relax, to go with friends, to be social, to do all the things that I want to do, or focus on another project you might have. A lot of you know that I run my nonprofit. I will record all of these at one time, and then I will focus my other efforts on just getting the newsletter out, making sure I make my thumbnails, or outsourcing those for someone else to do because I don't like to do those, whatever it is. And then I can focus on running my nonprofit or being with my family, hanging with friends, doing all of those things and being really focused on whatever the task is at hand that I'm interested in at that time. So there aren't many things in your life that you can batch like this. Like you can't batch friendships, right? You can't batch relationships, but you can batch setting up time to record and just boom, 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 get a lot done so that you don't have to quit your YouTube channel. You can just get ahead of it and you can record short videos so that you can post them on Instagram or TikTok or any of those places. And this is how digital marketers and content creators really are able to stay consistent with their art and their work or whatever it is that their content. So the nice thing about recording that I have found in a batching kind of way, that I can show up with that same energy on the next video because I'm not tired. I'm in this mode. I'm in this expression mode, right? I've already taken the time to batch and write up my scripts and really talk about like what I'm doing and all of that. So I think this might be something that I start to teach for you guys, but this is something that I think is a game changer once you learn it. So I think I've beat that dead horse. Okay. Yeah. So basically it keeps you in a focused state and a focused level of energy. And I think that's really where things happen. Now, I will tell you guys like a little secret. So sometimes when I am doing recorded videos like this, I actually get more nervous about pressing record than I do for in-person talks. And I think that's a little weird. I think it's a little weird. I don't know why I'm like that, but you put me in front of a group of people, I have no problem talking, and it's a little more off the cuff and I feel like I can engage. But when you put me in front of a camera, although I love it and I love showing up and doing these, I get really, really nervous before I press record, even though I know I can stop. So I thought that was pretty interesting thing. So batching is something that will help you get into a flow and stay there, and then be able to produce multiples and give yourself some time and energy to really move and do other things and allow space for other things that matter to you in your life, so that you're not just on this hamster wheel of creating content, which is where a lot of us end up. And I just think this is such a great tip. Okay, so moving on to number 4. Number 4 is how to find the intersection for your brand and your passions. I feel like a lot of times before you quit your YouTube channel, you're feeling like you are kind of stuck between, okay, I've been talking about this one thing for a long time, right? We were talking about niching down. And this is where I talk about it potentially kills your creativity, because you start talking about something and maybe your YouTube channel really takes off and it's doing well, and you love it and you're all in it. But then as your interests start to change, so then does your YouTube channel. And that's okay, because it's time to now find the intersection between your brand and your passions, right? All of your digital marketing efforts, even before you start, or if you're just going to get back on to YouTube, or before you quit any of that, I want you to begin throwing spaghetti at the wall. And I love to say this because when you just start throwing spaghetti at the wall, you have to remember that your content is really served up to people who are potentially interested, not just your current subscribers. So if I took you into my YouTube studio, and if you go into your YouTube studio, you will start to find that a lot of times the people that are watching your new videos are new subscribers. They're not your they may not even be subscribers. They just may be new people, period. And so I wouldn't think so much about like, oh, I'm going to lose my subscribers. Your subscriber count is always going to be there unless, 20, 30,000 people decide that they want to, stop watching your channel. And most times people, it's nothing against you. You just haven't made content that they are wanting to look at just yet. Okay. So one of the settings I would change, and I believe it's inside of your studio, is who that content is served up to. So there's a place where you can check if you want people to be notified of your new content. And if you're making content that is not directed towards your specific subscribers about the topic that you've been talking about for a long time, for instance, I've been talking about nonprofits for a long time. Now I like to talk more about personal development, digital marketing, things like that for a wide breadth of people. Then I'm not going to ask YouTube to send this to my old subscribers, because what happens is if I'm in this throw spaghetti at the wall area where I'm testing and trying something new to see what people like, then I don't want my content to be served up to old subscribers, because I know that the information that most of them subscribed for was to find out about nonprofits. And before you quit your YouTube channel, I would recommend that you try that, to stop sending your content to your old subscribers, but to actually just send it to anyone new to see how other people react to it. The thing that you have to know here is that when you are researching and creating your thumbnails and titles long before you need them, you can get the best SEO, right? So that's search engine optimization. Because if you realize that most of the content that you're creating has to do with what people are searching for, and I talk about this all the time, the searchable content is huge. That's how you find new subscribers. That's how you find, when you're throwing things at spaghetti at the wall, that's how you find that intersection between your passion and, your subscribers and your brand and what they actually want to hear from you. And then you can start honing in on that content. And we're going to talk about that as we move into the next few tips, because that's a really big part of learning how to niche down. So first, you're going to really want to, I'm telling you, this tip is huge. Before you quit your YouTube channel, I wish someone had told me, I wish I knew to throw spaghetti at the wall and turn off that subscriber notification, then have fun and see what people like. And so that's kind of the period I'm in right now, where I'm just throwing spaghetti at the wall. I'm talking about all the things that I love to talk about, and we'll see who likes it and who doesn't, and which videos do well and which don't. So now I'm going to give you part of some of those processes. Okay. So some of you already know how I think about just starting up on anything, and why we get stuck with fear and procrastination, and why overthinking and all of those things really holds us back. And there's really two types of practicing. Okay. The first type of practice is being messy. It's just being real messy. We're going to throw spaghetti at the wall. We're going to make a big mess, and we're just going to see. And my thing to those of you that are thinking about either quitting your YouTube channel or restarting, rebranding, or starting in general a YouTube channel, is to just have fun and be messy. Like just get out there and it's like learning how to shift from being super serious and sticking to the script of your niche. And then the second one is just having fun and being messy and realizing it doesn't really matter either way, because someone on YouTube will like your content and you're going to find them when you focus on that SEO piece, right? So that search engine optimization piece, and really looking at like what content am I making that's searchable, that I love talking about. And that's the real key between getting those, getting all that together. Okay, so anyway, this is getting a little longer, so let's get into this. You start at messy, throwing spaghetti at the wall, and then you shift from messy to intentional. Okay. And I want you to do your research, know your keywords, understand on every single video, analyze your competitors, understand what they're talking about and how they framed it, what their thumbnail looks like, and how you're going to make your brand fit into that space while standing out and being yourself and being authentic, right? So create searchable terms. That's the biggest things. Understand your hashtags, try out shorts, try out all the different areas of what that platform has to offer. Here's the most important thing you have to remember. When you are on YouTube, you might have subscribers and things like that, but no one really knows you. And they're coming here to learn more about you. And the last thing that's kind of contradictory, but also important, is no one really cares. Like if you change what you've been talking about, no one really cares. The only thing I would recommend is just to make sure you change that setting from YouTube serving these things up to your old subscribers. And you might be like, no, because I want them to like look at my video. But the problem is that if they look at your video and they don't like what they're seeing or it doesn't apply to them, they're going to look at it and they're not going to watch it. And so then YouTube thinks that because they didn't watch your video, that it's not a good video and you actually had some really good information in there. It just went to the wrong people. So really think about that. So I want to walk you through kind of a 3-step process to shift from messy practice to intentional practice. And the first step is actually also number 6. So the first step is I want you to steal this one secret from billionaires to find success. So I'll be talking about this book later, but I love Noah Kagan's new book, The Million Dollar Weekend. And it's a great thing if you're having any trepidation about starting or you want to start making money or get into digital marketing. He's just I love his stuff. So anyway, from messy to intentional. First, you want to understand that there's a transition period for analytics and they need a chance to catch up. So when you put a video out there, the initial video might only get a few views. But as it gets into the algorithm works to find new people and new things, and YouTube understands your channel a little bit better. They will start sending it to the right people, and then it can build some momentum over time. So when you look at your analytics immediately, it's not going to be very exciting. When you look at your analytics maybe 2 or 3 months from now, then you can kind of make more of a good decision, right? As to, okay, this video is not working. People didn't like it, or I'm going to redo this video because it's killing it. And I'm going to run off of that and build off of that. So most of us really do give up too early, or we don't pay attention long enough to ride that wave, right? So I've started to adopt the rule of 100 by Noah Kagan in his book, and I love this. He says that after watching tons of billionaires and his billionaire buddies or whatever, they say that doing something 100 times, like sending 100 emails or making 100 videos or 100 podcasts, most millionaires get rich after sticking with something for some time. And so he focuses on really doing something 100 times. And that's actually what I'm doing here too, you guys. Like I'm in that messy phase, doing something. I'm going to make 100 podcasts before I decide whether or not I'm going to keep going with my podcast, or if I'm going to quit my YouTube channel, or if I'm going to keep going with my YouTube channel. I'm not planning to quit, you guys. I'm not doing that ever again. And I'll explain why later. Yeah, before you decide to throw in the towel, unless you've made 100 videos already or you've created 100 podcasts, I don't want to hear from you. Okay? I don't want to hear about you thinking about quitting your YouTube channel. So I hope that this is going to like rejuvenate your interest in your YouTube channel, because I really feel like this is the key, right? And that applies to those of us that are restarting too. Like I told you, I'm restarting and doing mine. So playing the long game with a fierce focus is the key before quitting your YouTube channel or wanting to rebrand your YouTube channel or restart or just even getting started. Like if you're watching this video and you are even considering starting a YouTube channel, all of this information today is going to be gold for you because it's going to take off a lot of pressure that many of us started with years ago and why so many of us consider stopping. And so I just want to make sure that, you guys get all this information because it's life changing to me. It's like a game changer. Okay, so step 2. So step 1 is all about doing it 100 times, right? From messy to intentional, 100 times. Step 2 is understanding that you are giving yourself a designated time to test. This is the practice phase of before you move into intentionality, we're just going to practice, right? So we're going to give ourselves a designated time to test for about at least, I think 3 months is a great time to see if there's a change or give you some idea of a direction. Like that's where the real meat comes in because now you're allowing yourself to test. You're throwing that spaghetti at the wall and you're getting some idea of a direction after about 3 months of this. And then you're building off of the last one that actually worked, right? And this will determine how quickly you will reach your 100s. What I mean by that is so you can do 100 videos in 3 months, 90 videos, right? You can do one a day if you wanted to, or you can do one a week, and that might take you 2 or 3 years. But the thing is that it doesn't allow you to quit because you're telling yourself, I'm going to do 100 of these before I give up, before I allow myself to give up. So it could take you 2 years if you're going to do one a week, right? It could take you, wait, was that right? Yeah. Yeah, it could take you 2 years if you're going to do 100 videos and you do one a week for 52 weeks, right? You can figure out how things work, but I get that all of us don't have that luxury to figure things out. So I do recommend giving yourself a time frame, like to finish those 100 reps. It could be 3 months, it could be 6 months, it could be, whatever, but it's not going to happen in 2 weeks. And that's where a lot of us get kind of hung up, is like we don't see that change. And when you think about searchability and writing out, scripts and titles and thumbnails that focus on searchability, that's when you see the power of search. And that's when you see the power of taking time. You need that time, okay, to really be able to see anything. Okay. So let's see what else here. And the bottom line of all of this, this is still the messy phase. It will feel incredibly messy. It will feel like you're out of control, but it's also going to be a lot of fun. And you will have made more progress than quitting or never starting, right? So that's the whole point here. And I want you guys to keep that in mind. Okay, so number 8 is all about intentional practice. And we do this through the power of 1. So now that you have the information, once you figure it out, we've done all the messy things, we've done the testing, we've done the 100 days, we know what we're working with. Give yourself another 3 months. And I know it sounds like a long thing, but this long game is really what gives you the information. And you'll gather some of that as you go, and you can refine and pivot and kind of go the direction that you feel like is showing up. But you've got to give yourself some time. And that's why I don't want you to quit before you do all of this, right? Give yourself some time and see. But anyway, give yourself another 3 months of intentional practice to focus on thing at a time. Now, here we go. Here's the power of 1. 1 customer, 1 topic, 1 platform, 1 call to action. This means that we are choosing to say, okay, I'm going to talk to this 1 customer about these types of topics or this niche. So as an example, for a while when I first started, which gave me a lot of momentum, was I was speaking to nonprofit founders, and I was only talking about how to start nonprofits and things like that. And then I was really only using YouTube because I just wanted people to be able to find it. So I did a good job with that. And you might find that you're doing some of these things already that are helping you gain some momentum. And the last thing is when I say 1 call to action, create a freebie or create something to provide as kind of like your digital marketing material so that people can then sign up for your email. And whichever way you decide to go, your customers are willing to follow you into that new territory if it's somewhat applicable. Like a lot of the digital marketing information and personal development information that I like to talk about, productivity, things like that, those translate to both nonprofit founders, digital marketers, small businesses, personal branding. All of that is kind of all in one. So I don't worry about it so much. But the key here is to go deep and have a fierce focus on just that power of one specific goal. And I promise you, you will see a difference. Now, if you feel like you've already thrown spaghetti at the wall and you've already done the messy side of the process and you know what that one topic is and you know what that one customer is or that one searchable platform or that one call to action, test it out if you're in that second phase of shifting from messy to intentional practice. Create that strong freebie and make sure it's valuable and that it leads to an upcoming course or a tiny product to sell or anything that you are really excited to share with your customers. Because remember, you're always finding new subscribers. When you turn off that setting that I told you about earlier and you just start creating, if you need to make money or you want to make money, you can create like a small product for $7 to $20, somewhere in that range, and then focus all your content around that one product. And that's why it's really important to get very clear on that one thing. This in and of itself could probably be its own podcast, and maybe I will do one for you guys. Let me know if you want to hear about this power of one. And we can go deep and really talk about how to set it up and give you some practical tips on that. But all of your advertising, your newsletters, everything, it hits it hard. And then it's like ubiquitous, right? With your message, everybody's hearing about it. That's all they know about you. And you kind of start to build your own personal brand around that without truly saying, okay, I'm building this, but you are being intentional about it. And then you can see how people feel about it and what they need and what they want. And it allows you to really work with your customers a lot better and give them exactly what they're looking for. All right. Woo, it's a lot of talking, guys. Okay, number nine. Number 9 is all about optimizing your content too soon. Okay, so a lot of times during this messy practice phase, right, the goal is to create searchable content. But sometimes people want to start on like social media, and I call that optimized content because all that's doing is if you've created some searchable content, that's great. And that will get you very far, but it's a long game. And so when people look at social media, they think, oh my gosh, if I just put out my social media and everybody likes it and everybody sees it, they're going to start buying from me. But that's just not the case. Your followers do not translate to money or making money online directly, because what it takes for them to connect with you, it might take them 7 times to see your information for them to say, oh yeah, I want to purchase that. Or on the flip side of this, they may not see it at all. Right? So that's the other side of things. When you are on an optimization platform like Instagram or TikTok or Twitter, anything where it's not based on search like Google or your website or YouTube or Medium, like something where it is based on what people are searching. Whenever you're on these optimization platforms like Instagram and those places, you're fighting with the algorithm and you have no control. And the best place that you really want to take people off of any optimization platforms is really to your email. So you have to be intentional about what your content is providing on those optimization platforms, and then also where it's directing people. So if you're just directing them from Instagram to a video, you're not really getting people into your business ecosystem with your email. You're getting them to another platform. So you want to be careful about what you're actually asking people to do and why you're asking them to do those things. Okay. So that's part of having a full strategy and really understanding how things work together when you're doing digital marketing. Number 10. If I haven't convinced you with all of the things that I've been saying in this video, and if you're still here on this video, I really appreciate it and thank you. And I would love it if you comment with this last one, because this is the one that I feel is actually most important. And I reiterate it to myself all the time. I just repeat it so that I know, like, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. Always forward. When I was going through a tough time in my business, one of my board members said these literal words to me. I was feeling like, oh, I don't know if I should keep going. I don't know if I should stop. I don't know, whatever. And he was also another business owner. And he said, always forward, never back. And it was said by St. Junipero Serra. I'm glad I got that name right because I've been messing it up. But anyway, for me, it really shifted everything. It was like, make a pivot instead of going back. Make a pivot on your YouTube channel instead of deciding to just kill it. because right now you have a ton of momentum. Okay. And even though it may not seem like there's so much momentum because you're not making the money you want to make or you're not seeing the growth that you want, you still have more momentum than someone who's just starting from scratch. And you just have to kind of reinvigorate that momentum again. And the thing is, you will have an entire new life in 6 months if you take this advice and just start putting it into practice. And I want you to comment always forward if you're still here in the comments, if you plan to just keep moving forward and we're never going back. Okay. I'm not trying to be Kamala. I'm just saying, don't give up, don't quit. And instead, let's just pivot. Okay, guys, like that's what we're here to do. We just want to pivot. Treat it like a job, whether you have 2 subscribers or 200,000 subscribers. Focus on your craft and just keep moving forward. Practice the craft, focus on that. And honestly, quitting my YouTube channel really messed up everything as far as momentum goes. And momentum is the most important thing. That had someone told me, if I wish I had known, right, that momentum is the key. And so digital marketing is also another thing that is purely momentum and strategy. Right? When subscribers choose to follow you, they like you for more than just the topics you talk about. So don't give up on them and don't give up on the momentum you have. We're all looking for a connection with the messenger, right? Like when we watch people, we're like, oh my gosh, we really like this person. We like the way they present their information, or it feels like a girl's chat, or whatever it is, or guys chat. So, like I said, for the next 6 months, let's get down to business to grow your subscribers, grow your email, grow your community, and do not stop. I don't want you to fail like I did. So avoid my mistakes by putting these tips into practice, and your future self will absolutely thank you. So until next time, stay fierce and get out there and unleash something amazing. Bye, guys.